Well, hello and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. We're going to talk Wildcat football first as Wildcats traveled up to Ann Arbor, Michigan to take on Concordia in their final regular season game of the year. Coming up short on that end of the stick, 17-28. But join us now, the head coach of the Wildcats, Jordan Langs. And Coach, man, it doesn't seem possible that this season has come to an end. But we're going to talk about this Concordia game in a minute. I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts, though, on the season overall because, man, there were a lot of great things that happened this year with this football team.
Yeah, overall it was a phenomenal season for the football program. Really proud of the kids. We had a big staff meeting this morning, and I had really two big takeaways. Was one, I'm proud of the way we played with grit and passion and perseverance and finished football games, and I'm really proud of the way we played. When we were at our best, we were playing a full team game. All three phases were in sync with one another. I think that shows the chemistry of the staff, the hard work of the staff, and our kids bought into that. And when that formula was going, we could beat anyone, and that was proven. So that was really encouraging. Overall, we got to find a way to play more consistent, and we need to get bigger, faster, and stronger. So those things we know we can take care of in the offseason.
I know hearing you over the last 2 years now, you always talk about win or lose, taking that experience and learning from it and then growing from that. And I think we certainly saw a lot of growth this year in a lot of areas.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, on both sides of the ball, look at our Butler game and then look at even our Missouri Baptist game, Olivet Nazarene game. I think Olivet was a game that really kind of turned us in the right direction. But we started trusting each other, trusting the plan. We finished well in all those games, but we had to realize also we were playing with freshmen, sophomores, and redshirt sophomores with 5 seniors. So each game was a learning experience. Every quarter was a learning experience, and it was good for us to kind of stay on that track and keep growing.
Well, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from this game up at Concordia. A little bit chilly and cold out there. And one of the things I know you definitely want to work on is getting off to better starts in games. And we've seen this a few times because, you know, they force a 3 and out, and then they block the punt that sets them up in great field position where they only have to go, 21 yards in 2 plays.
Yeah, and inconsistency is all 3 phases. We got to start faster in both sides of the ball, but then in special teams, we had our high moments, and then we had too many low moments at crucial times, and that was really disappointing one, which leads to quick scores, which leads to field position. So those are things we'll be very focused on this offseason.
Because in their second possession, again, very short field after the 3 and out, they had the one play for the 35-yard touchdown, and next thing you know, I mean, the game's just minutes old, and you're down 14-0, and you got a hole to dig yourselves out of.
Yeah, and we've had to do that a few times this year, and it's just we've proven we can do it, which is a good attribute to have, but it's something you cannot rely on if you want to be an elite football program. So it was one of those learning moments, and we had kind of dug ourselves out of the well a few times this year, and I think we can't continue to make that so prevalent. And I'm proud of the way our kids fought back to even it up, but we can't continue to do it to ourselves.
You know, you guys, though, you're down 14, put together a whale of a drive here. I mean, I don't know how many, it took almost, 9 minutes off the clock, 85 yards, 16 plays, and Zach Blair will ultimately cap it off with a touchdown run here. But this was a heck of a drive.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we needed, and that's it shows what we can do when we do it together. And our offense needed that drive in that moment, and they did it. And then our defense needed to come out and get a stop, and they did it. And they started making negative offensive plays. And so, yeah, it was good. It was kind of a microcosm of our season, and it shows our strengths, but also shows us the things we have to get better at.
I wanted to make a mention that, in case we don't get a chance to talk about it, you're talking about a heck of a schedule you guys played here. This Concordia team was ranked, I think at the time, 12th in the country. I'm not sure if we've seen the final polls, but a team that's third consecutive year in the NAIA playoffs, a conference title contender. And again, so another team that you guys faced that was just an outstanding opponent.
Yeah, just welcome to it. We've been saying it all year. We knew this is what it was going to be like. They were the 4th-ranked team in the country in week 4 of this season. So it's good as we sit here now and you move forward. That's why we're so encouraged. We know we have a big task ahead of us. We know our potential. We know our weaknesses, but we also have the formula to get better, and we just got to commit to that.
So we saw the touchdown that closed out the second quarter. You go in the locker room at the half, tied 14-14, but they put together a good drive, score there. They're up 21-7. But you guys put together a really nice drive here. Again, 16 plays, I think, goes about 70 yards. Can't get it in the end zone ultimately and have to settle for a field goal.
Yeah, and points are really crucial. At that point, you get in the second half of a football game versus an elite team like Concordia is. Not getting 7 there hurt us, but then they did a nice job. And once they came back with the lead, they sat on the ball. Right. They took the clock out, and that was a really smart play by them because they knew what kind of team we can be when we're trying to come back. So kudos to them for playing a good game. Kudos to their playing. But I was proud of the way our kids showed resolve once again.
They end up getting another touchdown. They puts them up, 28-17. You guys had some opportunities, put some drives together, just couldn't get that next drive to get it in the end zone.
Yeah, we needed a stop. We needed a timely stop, and we got them early there, late in the second quarter. In the second quarter, we got them a little bit in the third, but like I said, they did a nice job of staying ahead of the chains in the fourth quarter and giving themselves a chance in this football game, and ultimately we couldn't dig ourselves out of it.
It's been fun to watch Devon Alford get back in action. You saw him catching the pass there. He ran the ball well in this game. But having him back, second half of the season, that was a huge plus for this team.
Devon needs a special talent, and some of the guys that we have in that running back room with him are special talents. They're just going to keep getting better, and it's fun to sit there and be 6-4, tie for third place, and everyone, we've proven we belong at this level, but also know that everyone in our football team is going to be a lot better in a year from now and in 2 years from now, and just the future of the program is very, very bright.
Well, everyone knows about the tight losses. Literally overtime to Butler, had a chance to beat St. Francis on the road in the final seconds. The last possession against Marian, the number 2 team in the nation, this one. But also some great wins. I thought you mentioned the Olivet win, the win against Taylor, the first win ever against a top 15 opponent against Siena Heights. There was a lot of great things to build upon now as you go kind of into this off season and not only working with the guys you have, but also recruiting now for that next class.
Yeah, no, the wins are important. The top 25 rankings are important. You're building your clout amongst the country and amongst the conference, which is, when you start from scratch, it doesn't matter how cool your stuff is. It doesn't matter how many wins you have early on. All that matters is you've got to do it consistently if you want to build some clout, and we need to do that in the conference and in the country for the future. So really proud of the kids. They laid just another big stone in the foundation of the program, and I think it's obvious that we're heading in the right direction.
Well, again, Coach, thanks for stopping by. Congratulations on a great season. It's been a lot of fun watching you guys, and already looking forward to next year.
Thanks, Roger. So am I.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk some volleyball action, and Coach Candace Moats will be in to talk about a huge game in the Crossroads League's championship against Marian. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The volleyball team played a full 5 sets against Marian University in the Crossroads League Championship before finally securing the victory in a very exciting match. Joining us now is the head coach of the Wildcats, Candace Moats. So, Coach, have you recovered from that match? Because it was kind of one of those legendary matches, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so emotional. And I think if you asked every player on the team, they would probably say they didn't sleep Saturday night. We were just so amped up after the match. It was just a epic match.
Because one of the things I wondered about is you guys had won 13 consecutive games, and you had swept all of those. So if you got into like a 4 or 5 set match, how would you respond? And for a moment there, it looked like maybe it wasn't going to happen, but the ladies did find a way to pull it out.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's hard to determine what all went down towards the tail end of the third match and then through the fourth and kind of into the beginning of the fifth, to be honest. It's very rare you win a fifth set when you're down 9-5.
Right.
Very rare.
Because it didn't look
So,
good right then.
It looked really scary, to be honest.
Well, we're taking a look at the highlights here, and the first two sets, Indiana Wesleyan here in the near court in the black uniform. First two sets, you guys are really on point. You won 25-19 in set one, and then 25-18 in set two. But you started out gangbusters.
Oh, I'll tell you what, it just seemed like we were going to get this in three. I mean, our host strategy was working, and it was exciting, and I really thought this is going to be a three-set match like it was when we went to them the first time.
Now, how much of it had to do with what you guys were doing and maybe some errors they were making? We saw the first set and now we're in the second set where they hit it wide. I mean, a little bit of both maybe?
Yeah, well, I think what happened is, I think it had a lot to do with what we did, Raj. We did commit blocking, which we had not done on them before, and we stopped 3 players. So I think their errors were making the other players have to hit, which they weren't as good, and also they were trying to get around our block. So I think we did a lot to secure that first 2 wins in the strategy that we had.
You saw Anna Collar there with the kill. She led the team with 19 kills on the night. Yeah, you had Anna though with 19, Rachel Klitzing with 16, Kelly Miller with 14. So you had multiple ladies, even Allison Sparrow in the middle. I think double-digit kills. So you didn't have to rely on just Rachel per se.
That's the strength of our team this year, is that even if somebody is not playing well, then we just go away from them because we still have a ton of people we can go to.
Well, we're in the third set now, and again, this is where the tide starts to turn, so to speak. And you got to give Marian a ton of credit because they're down 2 sets to none, and they didn't fold their tents. In fact, they dug deep and found a way to start pulling out that third set, 25-22.
That's the game with that. That's the craziness of volleyball, is that momentum shifts can just take the match to a whole different direction. And they got a little taste in that end of that third set that they could maybe win, and then we had to stop the train.
And just to kind of speak once again to the quality of this Marian team, you're talking about a team that is 31-2 on the year, and their only losses to Indiana Wesleyan. They're a top, they're a top 10, 12 team in the country.
Their final rating was number 11, so they're a almost top 10 team as well, and so it was really fun to just have that as our championship match.
So now we're in the fourth set here. They pulled within one, and sometimes you wonder, okay, you let one get away. Maybe they've used up all their energy, all their, all their good plays in that fourth set. But again, Marian's able to pull this one out, tight one again, 25-21. They
have this uncanny way of just junking people, throwing the ball to a corner or throwing it to a spot where you're not, and they do a very good job at that, which is in our minds, we say, and it's partly because we hate that kind of play, we'll say it's untraditional play, but it works for them, and they've gotten to where they've gotten. So that's just the challenge. We got in a rut from their throwing, and we had to regroup again.
So now into the fifth set, and like you mentioned, it doesn't start out the way you want it to.
No.
And in fact, you fall behind 9-5. Now in the fifth set, you're only playing to 15.
Right.
And get some timeouts, but huge credit to your ladies. They didn't panic. They settled down, and they just executed down the stretch.
Yeah, like if you look at it, we had 10 points to gather against a almost top 10 team, and they had, 6 points to gather to win this thing. And so it took a lot of grit, and it took a lot of determination to just say, hey, we're We need to keep this going.
And even that final point, you thought you had it won, but they made a great play, and finally Rachel gets the kill. I wanted to make a point of Haven Gates, though. 36 digs in this game. She's been outstanding all season long as a freshman back there for you defensively. And, we see highlights of kills and stuff like that. But if you're not playing great defense, and not only Haven, but I know Anna back there and Abby, others, you got to be playing great on that side of the net as well.
I think that's what makes us a number 3 team right now, is that we're not just good in the front, but we have got a back row that's epic. Very strong back row.
Well, Crossroads League regular season co-champs with Marian, but it's got to be really satisfying to know, okay, we get this tournament championship, secure that number 1 seed in the postseason tournament, and that's that's just something you don't have to share.
Right, exactly, and that was the whole desire going into the whole match was like, hey, let's get the tiebreaker.
Well, what's next for Indiana Wesleyan? The national tournament, because the top 20 teams go straight to the national site in Sioux City, Iowa. You don't have to worry about it. One of the on-campus sites, the 21 through 32, will play off, and then half of those will advance. But you've got a number 1 seed, and that's never happened in the history of the program. So to be one of the top 4 seeds is really just an awesome accomplishment. We know in your pool C will be Corbin out of Oregon, I believe, and then also Montana Tech, obviously out of Montana. But do we know anything about those teams? There'll be one more team you don't know who that is yet, but we know Corbin and Montana Tech are both ranked in the top 20, obviously. You go out there, you're going to play great competition no matter who you play.
That's how we look at it. There's not going to be bad volleyball anymore. So you don't have anybody that you can just say, oh, we'll get these 2 and then this one will work for. We got to be up every match, and we got to be ready to go. And so it's going to be good volleyball, and we'll see what happens. Awesome.
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the victory. As we mentioned, the Wildcat volleyball team will be in pool play in Sioux City, Iowa. The dates will be for pool play December 3rd, 4th, and 5th at the Tyson Event Center, and hopefully the Wildcats will advance beyond that to the final 16. Well, once again, congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
And good luck out in Sioux City, Iowa.
Thank you so much, Raj.
Well, when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will bring us the breakdown, and we'll talk to Daniel Seiffert after the women's soccer team completed their own Crossroads League championship tournament. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. We send it over now to Mikala Woodfork with the breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. The men's basketball team beat IU East 99-89. Kyle Mangus had an amazing game with 33 points along with 12 rebounds and 9 assists. The women's basketball team also beat IU East. They won 88-57. Dayton Groninger led the Wildcats in scoring with 21 points. The football team went down to Michigan to face Concordia. Unfortunately, the team did not come back with a win. After being tied at the half, the Wildcats lost 28-17. The swimming team spent 2 days at the Toby Tiger Invitational and finished second out of 3 teams with 1,007 points. The women's soccer team competed in the Crossroads League Championship, but were unfortunately defeated by Marian 2-0. And finally, our amazing volleyball team, who has a 34-1 record and is ranked at number 3, won the Crossroads Championship title. For this title, they beat Marian in a tough 5-game battle. The Wildcats won the first 2 sets and Marian won the second 2. The 5th set was a very intense one, with the Wildcats pulling ahead and winning that game 15-12, earning them the Crossroads Championship title. Amazing job, ladies. Well, that's all I have for you this week for the breakdown. Back to you, Roger.
And thank you so much, Mikala. Now we turn our attention to women's soccer. The ladies took on Marian University as well in the Crossroads League Championship, but not able to pull out the victory in this one. Join us is the head coach of the women's soccer team, Daniel Seiffert. And Coach, well, you guys had a marvelous regular season to put yourself in position to be the #1 seed in the postseason. You know, you were the conference champions, 19-game unbeaten streak.
Yeah.
All good things, though, apparently must come to an end because the Knights got the best of you on Saturday, and you dropped that conference championship game 2-0. But we'll talk a little bit more about it later. There's still more soccer to be played. But a game in which Marian scored early.
Yep.
And you guys just weren't able to get that equalizer, and you know, at the end they scored that one late. But credit to the Knights, you know,
Yeah.
very good side.
Yeah, no, Marion's a very strong team. They've had a great season this year, very similar records to us. You know, we got them the first time 2-0 at our place, and then, you know, they, like you said, they got the early goal, and with about 7 or 8 minutes left, we're trying to push some numbers forward, try to, you know, switch up a few things to try to equalize, like you said, and unfortunately that's when they got the second one in.
Well, obviously I mentioned, you know, a 19-game unbeaten streak. There's a few ties in there, but in order for that kind of streak to happen, you're scoring goals. I mean, you have to be, obviously, right? But so this was the first game you were shut out in almost 2 months. So just couldn't put the biscuit in the basket, as they would say up north.
That's one way of putting it for sure. Yeah, no, our girls, we created a couple opportunities, not as many as what we normally like. We normally like to create, you know, a few more options, and you know, a lot of our play, Marian, they do a really good job of sitting off and kind of directing the play. And we had some unforced turnovers in the back, unfortunately, as you just saw right there, that we need to button up and clean up, and that's what we're going to use a lot this week for, just to kind of organize ourselves and make sure that we're on the same page as we get forward. As I think this is actually the goal that Marian scored off of a transition. We had numbers forward, and they were able to slot a ball through and put a girl in a dangerous spot to bump it around and get that goal, you know, in the first 10-15 minutes. So after that, we're obviously trying to get numbers forward, and this was actually a chance where we had a great look. Keeper took out our player a little bit. A lot of people thought that could have been a PK and would have equalized, but wasn't called. That's the way the game goes sometimes, and so just tried to bounce back as best we could.
And as you mentioned, as we talked about, they scored that goal, I think, in the 20th minute, or in the 19th minute. You know, and then there's a lot of soccer in between where it's a little bit back and forth, and you know, you guys came up with some big saves, had a few shots, you know, opportunities there, but just couldn't get that one in. And then, you know, as every second ticks off or every minute ticks away, it just that much more pressure on your ladies to try to get that equalizer.
That's exactly right. You know, as the time continues to tick, you're trying to figure out ways to you know, come back and try to tie up the score. And this is actually, I think, where you know, they tried to move the ball around. Our numbers are up a little bit higher, and this is where they get a girl in behind, splits 2 of our backs, and that's when they go ahead 2 goals with like 8 minutes left in the game.
Exactly. You know, they're up 2-0 and time's winding down, so, you know, every last-ditch effort here it's just that, you know, it's kind of a last-ditch effort. But
exactly. Trying to get numbers in, trying to push numbers forward, and try to find a way to see the ball. It's a scrum in front of the goal with about, you know, 8 yellow shirts in front of it, and it's tough to put the ball in the back of the net when you see that.
You know, you look at that picture there as the game comes in, it was a sunny day, but it wasn't warm out there, was it?
No, but I will say credit to our groundskeeping crew here. I mean, they worked tirelessly on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to get that field playable. I will give them all the credit in the world. We have an awesome staff and administration here, and what Grant and what Alex did with the fields and everything to get that playable for this weekend. Super impressed, super thankful that we were able to play there, because early on in the week with all that snow on the field, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to play on that field or not.
Exactly. Well, Coach, like I mentioned, you guys finished this portion of the season 17-2-2, ranked in the top 10 in the country. As we look at postseason play now, we do know, we just found out just minutes ago, the Wildcats are the number 9 seed. You will be hosting one of the first round sites here on Friday the 22nd. Trinity Christian takes on Georgia Gwinnett, and then on Saturday the 23rd, you'll face the winner of that game. So Probably don't know a whole lot about either one of those two teams yet because you just found out, but it's great to be home for these, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, like you said, we try to stay in touch with all the teams nationally, and Trinity Christian has been in the polls pretty high all year long, so they're a good team. Georgia Gwinnett, seen them play as well. They're a lot of international players, a lot of talent. Mike Giuliani, he's been there for a while. He's a great coach, and so whoever it is, whoever we potentially play on Saturday, it's going to be a real battle. Credit to those teams, for having the seasons that they've had, and we're just excited that we get to play here at our home and in front of the Wildcat Nation. So
That'd be awesome, and we're looking forward to it. But Coach, again, congratulations on a great year. We're looking forward to seeing how the Wildcats do in the postseason.
awesome! Thank you so much.
Well, as we said, once again, the Wildcats will be hosting the NAIA opening round. Saturday, November 23rd will be the championship, but on Friday there actually will be a game between Trinity Christian and Georgia Gwinnett. We'll see who the Wildcats play on Saturday. Well, that is all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. If you'd like to see more of Wildcat Week, you can visit our website, wiwtv.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Once again, that's wiwtv.com. You can stay connected with all our local programming by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's WIWU TV. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. So for all of us here, thank you for watching Wildcat Week.